VoyMonk vlog number 64. And it is Friday. Not gonna do too much singing. I have a terrible voice, and I don't engage in those kinds of acts of cruel and unusual punishment. Vlog number 64. And it's been a week. You got Saturday coming on here in the next few hours from now. And I gotta say it's been a heck of a month. And during the time that I've been living life just like the rest of all of you, I had kind of considered some ideas. This isn't an update, don't worry about the show or anything like that. There are certain things that I've definitely changed a little bit. I'm not time stamping these any longer as far as the vlogs. And of course the voiceovers, I am not necessarily going to do a announcement as to the voiceover numbers, but I'll probably have those in the descriptions to try to keep track of them. So that's it. As far as the actual content itself, I have been playing with some ideas in terms of doing that as far as going forward. I've looked at some podcasts, I've looked at some basic formats and seen how some of those follow. And doing these voice overs and the vlogs in this way, meaning with my voice, not video just yet, I've actually pretty much enjoyed doing this. There's some things I'd like to do as far as equipment and that kind of thing, but I think some things are kind of coming into focus in terms of the content for the channel to a degree. Like I said, the vlogs are pretty much my main thing. My voiceovers are going to basically be kind of the default when I feel like doing them and that sort of thing. Like I said, I have the schedule set up as far as Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on my vlogs. And then, of course, when I do the voiceovers, they'll be at 10 a.m. on either a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. So that's it. As far as I thought about doing a radio show, like I said, a 4-hour format. I'm pretty far away from being able to do that. Like I said, I want to get a voice mic, specifically that, and I want to make sure I have some have some other things along with that. I don't obviously have money at all in that kind of thing, and I do have to learn some other ways of being able to do that. So like a 4-hour once a month on Friday type of thing isn't really something that I think I can do. But I kind of thought about maybe doing an hour type of program, or maybe a 4-hour program every once a month. But I thought about maybe doing an hour, maybe starting off. I'm not sure. I'm still kind of thinking about it. As far as the frequency, I think I would still do it on a Friday, but I don't know that I would necessarily call it a show or a podcast or anything like that. But that's kind of a thing that I've been toying with over the last few weeks and going into this month here. So not exactly sure, but if I do that, it's going to be different from the way that you're listening to me now, in terms of it'll be unscripted and unedited in that way. But it's in terms of a format and a structure, I definitely plan on doing something like that. Like as far as overall content, I'm not necessarily sure. I mean, I know some people do like news, some people do like current events and things like that. I'm not really afraid of doing that in what would be, like I said, maybe like an hour podcast, hour. I really don't know if show is the right word, but maybe once a month being something like that. And I haven't pulled the trigger or finalized or done anything. I'm just kind of spitballing a little bit here and going through some of the motions as far as what that might entail in order to do like a 1 hour format, basically. Not quite like a radio show. I don't even think of it's really much of a podcast. I mean, I think most podcasts are between 2 and 4 hours, which is very similar to a radio show and that sort of thing. But like I said, if it was a radio show, I'm not going to really put any music because obviously in the year 2025, there's a thing called copyright, and I don't know a lot of music that I could do in terms of that. Plus, there's the editing for that. As far as any other kind of content other than me just talking, yeah, I think I might do it on news events. Nothing obviously too serious, topical events and things like that, and discussing. It could be like movies or upcoming events, shows, things of that nature that I could discuss. And then, of course, if this builds, if people are listening, I would be more than happy to entertain other people or talk about other programs or other vlogs or other content providers. I think I would definitely be happy to do that, because there is lots of different people on here that I think do great content. And I also know that there are different ways of doing things as far as reaction videos. I like reaction videos. I think it's kind of fun to get a general overall consensus of what people think in terms of their reviews on content. I do think that there is a little bit, because I don't know how they're really specifically done, so that would be something that I would be a little bit curious about. I want to stay away from things that are as scripted or not as authentic as I'd like them to be. And I don't know the nature of doing those types of things and how that works. I'm not going to be promoting or, trying to get paid by selling people, objects or items or anything like that. If I genuinely see a movie that I like, that I think will be interesting, or a show or a review, things that I think that are interesting, that would be more or less something that I would be interested in doing in a 1 hour format. One of the shows that I'm so desperately interested in seeing when it comes out is Strange New Worlds, which is actually one of my favorite shows on right now. A few others would be Tracker on CBS, which I think is a great, phenomenal show. I'm also following Matlock on CBS, which is a great show. If you like the traditional Matlock, though, it's nothing like that. Other than the fact that it's in name, and they kind of make some passing reference to it and kind of jabs at the fact that its namesake, obviously kind of in a fourth wall type of way almost, is called Matlock. It's really not the traditional Matlock. But if you like Kathy Bates the way I do and love most of the things that I've ever seen her do, it's a real good show. It's really well written. I'm not necessarily saying that I am in love with every and all of the characters, but I think if you're like me and you watch a show, sometimes you can kind of get into it, and for whatever reason, sometimes the story can take a detour. Sometimes it can get off into the wrong direction, and you just kind of lose interest or whatever. I can tell you there's a few different shows that I've done that with. One of them was The Blacklist, which I thought was a great show. And I don't want to do any spoilers here, but basically in and or about season, I'm going to say about 6, I pretty much kind of fell off. I think sometimes a certain kind of story arc can drag on, and I'm okay with not necessarily always getting the answers to every question that's posed right away. But if shows generally take a detour from for at least me, what brings me in terms of an interest, then it's kind of easy for me to fall off. So, like I said, Matlock is pretty good so far. Tracker is also one of the better shows. I think NBC is bringing back Suits LA, and if you're a fan of Suits LA, or Suits the original, which I thought was good. I think that the premise was enhanced by the overall gimmick that one of the main characters, Mike Ross, who had a photographic, memory, one of those memories where he can remember everything he reads, and he knows it just like the back of his hand. And yeah, like I said, it was an interesting gimmick, but I think what ultimately drew a lot of, at least fanfare, and to me, a lot of interest in the show was the fact that besides just that gimmick, which I don't know that it necessarily needed, it was a really good show. There were certainly some things that were more done, I think, for theater, and there were other gimmicks as well that kind of were part of the quirks that made Suits a great show, which, again, like some other shows, I think after a certain number of years, it kind of started to lose a bit of its luster, especially after certain departures and stuff like that came in the show. But they are coming back with a new show called Suits LA. And I'll admit I'm not 100% sold on it. If you're a fan of Harvey Specter from the original, I guess he's supposed to be coming back in this new series, at least temporarily. I'm guessing as a way of kind of trying to pad it a little bit for those who love the original series, to get them to come in and, of course, check out Suits LA. But it seems like it's a pretty good show. I guess it's going to center around a gentleman, and I could be incorrect, Lucas Black, an attorney that I believe worked in the district attorney's office with Harvey Specter when he first started out, before he got signed to the law firm that he eventually took over in the original Suits. So it looks interesting. It looks good. I'm not exactly sure what might happen. I know that Star Trek also has what I believe are a couple of new series coming along as well. Section 31, which I'm not exactly sure what it'll be about entirely. I know Section 31 was kind of the Federation's equivalent to like the Secret Service or the CIA for the Federation and that kind of thing. If you watched any of the Star Trek series, some of the other races and groups like the Romulan Star Empire had like the Tal Shiar, or the Cardassians had an Obsidian Order, which was, like I said, a kind of a secretive espionage-ish type of agency that did all kinds of things as far as on the black books. That's what this Section 31 is supposed to be about. So it's got Michelle Yeoh, who also was in the series Star Trek Discovery, which, has its critics, has some people that did love it. There is also Star Trek Starfleet Academy that's coming along. And that actually looks extremely interesting to me, especially considering the fact Paul Giamatti and I can't remember her name off the top of my head, is also going to be acting in it, which they've got some pretty good names in terms of some of the people that are going to be in it, and it looks good. And so, like I said, I'm definitely interested to see how it may develop. I know once upon a time, long time ago, when Star Trek The Next Generation was finalizing its run, that they did a spinoff called Deep Space Nine. And while it did very well, eventually, I think it did have a lot of help from TNG, at least for a little bit. But it was a wonderful series that, at the time, I'll be honest, I wasn't exactly sure how a show that was originally about space and the final frontier and a 5-year voyage on a ship, how that was going to exactly translate into a show of, Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, Starfleet officers, and Starfleet personnel being on a station called Deep Space Nine. But it's still one of my favorite series, probably close to either second or third. Probably after TNG or Strange New Worlds, and then Deep Space Nine. So that looks interesting, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. So, like I said, those are some examples of some shows that I would definitely be interested in doing, maybe an hour-long format once a month. Maybe doing a few different shows, episodes, and stuff like that, and kind of comparing them, and maybe even discussing a little bit of the show, and if it gets picked up as in terms of interest to people who are listening. And it doesn't have to be just shows and all that kind of thing. Like I said, I'm not necessarily tied to a specific, if I do a 1 hour format kind of a show once a month. But it'll of course be when or if I get I think a condenser, or at least a good enough mic, and maybe some decent video quality, and maybe a way of being able to do that as far as, who knows, maybe my first video content. So, I know I'm saying a lot. I'm actually trying to refrain from saying as often as I have in a lot of my previous vlogs and content. Hopefully you can tell. So yeah, that's what I'm working with, and that's what's on my mind this Friday. And so this is obviously, like I said, there's still more to come, and like I said, things I'd like to do. But that's pretty much going to be it. Hopefully you've enjoyed the content so far, at least. And of course, if you've got opinions, things that I could do better or anything. If you want to do a video, say, hey, check this out. I'll be more than glad to do it. So yeah, I appreciate that. So hopefully you guys had I know it's been a heck of a week. And so hopefully going to Saturday, if it's your day off, obviously not everyone, but if you can find time to rest on a day off, whether it's Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is, hopefully you find some time for yourself, and find ways to decompress if you can. I would think. I'm not trying to get into advice, but hopefully you can. I'm just wishing that you have the weekend and the time that you like, that you enjoy, and that hopefully when you come back, when you do, I'll be here Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Like I said, if you like what you hear, please let me know. So until then, till next time, take care.